Hello and welcome to my Hygge Crow. My name is Christina. I use she, her pronouns, and I am coming to you from Sacramento, California. It's been a few months since I posted my last video. I have kind of a traditional podcast format for you today, but I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'll start with life chat, and then I'm going to do my works in progress, and then I'll get to my finished objects. I have I have some finished objects, not like a crazy amount for how long it's been, but that kind of leads me to my life chat that I wanted to talk about. I am almost 19 weeks pregnant today, and I am very excited, but this pregnancy I had a complete loss of my knitting mojo. I just, in the first trimester, I don't know if it was an aversion or if I was just so tired, but when I, in the evenings or whenever I would have the opportunity to pick up my knitting, I just didn't want to do it. And then I kind of started spiraling and felt guilty for not getting as much done as I had intended. I know that the last video I put out was my winter knitting plans video. I think I have two completed projects that I was planning on knitting. But yeah, in general, I just have not felt like knitting. I have just picked back up my knitting in in February. So I have started some new projects, and I have some things that I finished up, but yeah, it was very odd this time around. Last time as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was making my list of baby knits that I wanted to make and buying yarn and all of this stuff. This time I have not knit anything for the new baby yet, and we're about almost halfway through this pregnancy. Granted, I have a lot of stuff from Elliot, and I believe I'm due in July, mid to late July, and a lot of the things that I knit for Elliot, I knit for what I thought would be true to size. Turns out baby knitting patterns are almost always much larger than the age that the pattern says. The finished object will fit them later than what the pattern says. It ends up being bigger. And so because of that, Elliot was a January baby, so I'm expecting that a lot of the things that I knit for her that didn't get a ton of wear, because by the time they fit her, it was already getting into the spring and summer. I think that those items should actually be the right size at the right time, unless baby number 2 decides to be much bigger or much smaller or something. You truly never know, but I'm sure I'll want to knit for baby number 2 at some point. Maybe I'll make some hats or some little things, but yeah, I just have not really felt that inspiration yet. So I'm a little sad, just because you only get to knit for your own kids when they're babies for a little while. So I am a little bit sad, but I'm also too tired and busy to worry much about it, and so I'm not worrying about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all the live chat. Most of my winter knitting plans went unfinished, but I have cast on a few things. Well, I'll start with this. This is the top-down Christmas stocking by, I believe, Yuki Knits. And I should show you this side. This is the side. This is Elliot's Christmas stocking. Obviously, it's February, so we're way past Christmas now. And I did not finish. I was knitting this in December, and December, like halfway through, was just when I took a full break. I took a full 2-month break from 1 to 2 month break from knitting, completely. Like I didn't pick up my knitting at all, except for like when I was going to like knit nights and stuff like that. So this I put down halfway through December and never picked it up again. And yeah, it's the top-down Christmas stocking. I'm using some, what is it, Pacific Knit Company doodle motifs for like this one, and this one are actually motifs from, I think, the winter scarf pattern, but the train is from the original pattern. And I'm knitting it in 2 strands of Plutelope held together. If you've watched for a while, you will know that I've knit Joel a Christmas stocking like 2 years ago, and I was like gung-ho about doing Elliot's and mine this year. Oops. And the yeah, I just stopped. One of the things that made me really like frustrated was I got to about this point and I compared it to Joel's stocking, and I have this vague memory now of the needle size that the pattern calls for, which I think is a 4.5. Like I was using that needle for something else, and so I just knit his on a 5, but I of course didn't make a note of that, so I didn't remember. And I knit Elliot's on a 4.5, and so it's like it's smaller than his, which I don't feel is right because she gets more presents than Joel does. But I'm not gonna rip it out, so I just have to decide if I want to extend the length a little bit so that it's just skinnier but kind of the same size as Joel's, or if I want to just knit it to pattern on the smaller needle size and it'll be slightly smaller than his. I keep on going back and forth on whether or not I should just like take like, you know, a few days to a week and just like finish this so that this one is done for this next Christmas, or if I'll just hibernate it until next like fall, winter, when I'm feeling motivated again. It's really cute. There's not that much left. Obviously, this is the hard part of the pattern, and that's done. I just need to do the heel and foot and toe. I should probably just do it. We'll see what happens though. I'm trying not to pressure myself with any knitting, you know, plans because there's a lot happening. So yeah, that is a status update on that project. When I finally did like want to knit again, I kind of looked at my winter knitting plans and, you know, made the cuts where there was just absolutely no way that something was going to happen. But I did want to try to complete a few of those items, and ones that I felt like inspired to work on at the time were things that I thought would be like accessible for me to work on, if that makes sense. So one of the projects that I decided to do for my winter knitting plans is the Frank Shawl by Hoey Locatelli. And I'm gonna untie this knot here so I can show you. It is a fingering weight shawl that's knit in 3 triangles. So you knit 2 triangles that look like this, and then they'll go like, I don't know how to show you. They'll go on either side with like their points. So I'm starting this one, but their points touching each other, and then you pick, or you put these stitches back on the needle and knit another triangle, decreasing it down. So it ends up looking like 3 triangles, and it has lots of garter and stripes, I guess is what you would call this, but the stripes all have just a super simple eyelet lace going on. And yeah, this has been just my easy garter knit that I've been working on. This is my meeting knitting, and I can do this when I'm watching TV, and it doesn't feel daunting to pick this one up. So I finished the first triangle like yesterday, I want to say, and I've started the second one. The yarn that I will use, the main color yarn I'll use in the second one is this dark gray, and then I have a mid gray that will go in the triangle that goes between these two. I forgot to bring it over, but the yarn is Thought to Thread sock yarn. I think that dyer has changed what sock yarn they, like the sock yarn base that they use, but the colors I have are Amaranthus is the red. This like white gray is called Novel Pages. This dark gray is called Seattle Gray, and then I have a mid gray that's called Ash Gray. In general, I'm really enjoying it. It's nice and a little bit addictive because you want to get to the like next stripe or the next, it's like the increase pattern is in rows of 4. So like you want to like finish like that pattern of increases. But yeah, I got quite a lot of progress on this since I've started knitting on it, because for a couple weeks this was the only thing that I was knitting on. So I'm just really excited. It ends up being like a nice like blanket shawl style. I'm excited to wear it. I knit 3 shawls, I want to say, last year. I'd never knit a shawl before, and they're nice. I thought that I would never wear shawls, and I was wrong. So yeah, but this is definitely kind of the style of shawl that I like. I'm not super into like the really lacy or the crescent shawls so much. I like a very large blanket style shawl, or a shawl that kind of just looks like a scarf. Like for example, I did the Sophie shawl, but really in my head that's like a scarf that just has tapered ends. So yeah, that is my progress so far on the Frank shawl. And I'm holding it in this project bag by Knitting for Nellie. I actually got this project bag on a D-Stash. I like in the last year learned about these D-Stash Facebook groups, and that was dangerous because I got 2 Knitting Nellie bags on that, but it's super cute and I love it. The other project that I cast on a little more recently that I've been working on, I decided to do this because I wanted to have, well, I really just want this item, and I wanted to have a car knit as well, because I kept on like going places and forgetting my other project, and so I just thought, okay, I need to have one that sits in the car. And it is the Jason's Cashmere hat. Let me check the designer's name. I've knit 2 of these already, so I should remember. Oh, I'm on Rabbit and they don't show the designer's name. Well, I will put it in the description, so please check there. But this is a free pattern, and it's my favorite hat pattern. You can't see anything. I just have the uninteresting ribbing right now, but it becomes like a pretty simple but nice cable. Just looks like a really classic cabled hat, and I am knitting it. I've knit the other 2 in this same, well, I've knit the other 2 also in Woolfolk. One was Far and one was Luft, but this is Woolfolk Far. It's in a discontinued color. I think it's like called Mink. Is that right? I have it here. Oh wait, they just put the numbers. 17 is the number, but yeah, I got it from my local yarn shop on sale because the color is discontinued, but this is a really good color for me. It's like a warm gray, which is one of my neutrals as a light spring color palette. So I've had a couple mishaps with it. First of all, one of my skeins of yarn was broken in multiple places when I caked it up, which is so weird. Like I mentioned, I've knit with this yarn before. That's never been the case. So I kind of freaked out and thought maybe that I had moths. And so I froze a bunch of yarn that wasn't in closed containers, and I put out like moth traps and stuff. But I don't think it was moths because I haven't found the issue with anything else yet, and no moths in the traps. So yeah, I just think that the skein had broken pieces in it, which is disappointing. So I've got some like extra ends that I'll have to weave in. I also don't know how this happened, but I cast on, or I just started knitting 1 by 1 rib. The pattern clearly calls for 2 by 2 rib. I don't think it matters that much because you do flip the brim up, so it's not like the ribbing like leads directly into the cables or anything, because that brim is flipped. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna make a big difference, and I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I've just ended doing the ribbing, and I'm like 3 rows in and I'm about to do my first cable row. So very excited to have this hat. It'll probably be hot by the time it's done, but I'm knitting this one for me. My husband has one of the same hat knit in the same yarn in a different color, but he lost it. So he keeps on threatening to steal it, but I don't want him to do that because this is my color. So I might end up having to knit him another one. He used it a ton, so I'm trying not to be too mad. It was pretty much his like daily winter hat, and he loses everything. So it's probably actually impressive that he held on to it for so long, but I'm still a little bit bitter that he lost my hat that I knit for him. Yeah, and those are all of my whips. I will move on to my finished objects, and I'm gonna start with my most recent stuff and then kind of move back. So most recently I finished, this is a like second sample or prototype or whatever of, it's a self-drafted pattern, my own design. I really want to write this up into a knitting pattern that I can share with you all. I know lots of people have asked about this one. I call it the Licorice Sweater, and I really want to do it. Again, I just have a lot on my plate, and the like process of grading and then like to hire a what do you call it? A knit, the people who read your pattern, a technical editor or whatever it is, whatever it's called, a tech editor, I think. They read your knitting pattern and they like find any potential errors and then putting it out to test knit. And yeah, all of that just feels really daunting right now. So I kind of have the pattern half written and I have good notes. This was a test to see if I could correctly grade. And it definitely worked out. Elliot's only worn it, I think, once. So it's not too scuffed up yet. But yeah, it's just like a raglan sweater. It's knit in Malabrigo Rios. And it has this like, I call it like a ladder back braid detail because you just knit 2 stitches as you're knitting it, and then at the very end before you go to ribbing, you drop those stitches all the way back up to the neckband and like make like larger knit stitches, but it kind of looks like a braid. And then this is just a little texture pattern that's on the shoulders, arms, and underarms. So I hope that this pattern will release one day. I really like it and I think it looks good. Yeah, it's just, you know, designing your first pattern with a toddler and a full-time job and a YouTube channel and everything. It's just like, oh my God, can I do it while I'm pregnant? So we'll see, hopefully. But yeah, this is the Licorice Sweater and I'm very happy with it. Oh, I did add a little bit of shoulder shaping. The first one I didn't have any neck shoulder shaping, and this one does. I'm not as like, I feel like I can kind of see the German short rows here, which is annoying, but in general the fit is nice with the shaping. So pleased about that, like I was able to figure that out and write that down and have it work out in real life. So yeah, Licorice Sweater. I also finished this. This was one of the things that was on my winter knitting plans as an optional project. And this is the Beloved Bonnet by Tin Can Knits, and I knit it in Barocco Vintage Baby, I want to say. It's a DK weight yarn, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I ran out of yarn right here. I was trying to use up scraps. So I think you can probably tell on the camera. Someone's car alarm went off. You can probably tell that I had to switch yarns. I had a white that was like pretty close. I mean, it's definitely different. A sock yarn, and so I held that double and just finished off this one little tie because I didn't want to rip it all the way back to like half and redo it. This was in that phase where I was like, my knitting mojo was like crashing, and so I just needed to finish it, and so I did. Elliot loves this hat. She's had like a full 180 on hats. She hated them when she was a little baby, and now she's like loves wearing her like hood of her sweatshirt and wearing hats. I'll ask her if she wants to wear a hat when we leave the house, and she's like yes, and like wants it all tied on, and it's adorable. So it was good timing that I finished this right when she loved hats. But yeah, this has been great to have this winter. Just throwing things around. Okay. Now I'm not quite sure about the order of how I finished the rest of these, so I'm just gonna show you them. Just gonna show you them. These are the Oxbow socks by Andrea Mowry in the toddler size. And they are knit in Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad yarn. Believe this was the December colorway. And I think a lot of people knit these socks in this yarn because it was the Andrea Mallory sock cal. I feel like she has a name for it that I've completely spaced on this year, but essentially over the like Thanksgiving holiday, you knit a pair of socks, and I was very happy that this year the socks she chose had a toddler size because that felt a little more attainable. Last year I knit shorty versions of the adult size, and I was really pushing it to finish those in time, just because you don't have a lot of knitting time with a toddler. It's pretty much only the times she's asleep, and then I'm with my family on Thanksgiving, so things always come up that we are doing that is not involved knitting. But I was able to finish these, and I was surprised they kind of fit Elliot now. Like, they're a little big, but not as big as I thought. Like, I look at these and go, wow, those are pretty large. But she's worn them once, I think, and they were like kind of the right size. So hopefully her feet don't grow too much, because I don't think she's gonna be wearing socks a lot in the spring and summer. But yeah, they're really cool. They've got this like interesting, it's just like a knit and purl pattern. I want to say it was a 4-row repeat. And I think it looks really good in this yarn. Kind of shows off the variegation in the yarn, and it looks like kind of like moody. Yeah, just like nice and moody. So these are the Oxbow socks. I also knit this. This is another, this is the Maxine Hot Water Bottle Cover Mini by Penrose Knits. I think that's what her design name is. But it's Laura Penrose. And yeah, I knit this one also in the Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad yarn for, must have been November. And I actually won the like little, like if you are part of the Sock Squad and you submit your project, you finish your project in the month that the yarn comes and you submit it, you get entered to win like a gift card. And I won the gift card for this project, so that was really exciting. I have some ideas of what to spend that gift card on. But yeah, one of the yarns was actually, I think the dark blue one was not from this sock set that came. This one had two 50 gram skeins of this kind of like is that purple, and then this gray, and then there was a different mini that came with the set, but I thought that the blue kind of worked well with this. I might have gone with something a little higher contrast, but I like it. I like that it's kind of like a moody look. I feel like these two things go together in the moody category. But I was using this a ton at the beginning of winter. I don't know, I got a heated blanket in like a White Elephant gift exchange, and that has been really awesome. And I've been using my hot water bottles less, which is kind of sad, but also, boiling water is less convenient than putting on a heated blanket. But probably more environmentally friendly. I should use these again before it gets hot. But yeah, I knit it for a different hot water bottle, and then the day that I finished it, that other hot water bottle broke, and I had this one, but I didn't knit the top very long because the other one had like a smaller top to it. This is supposed to fold over. That's like what the pattern the pattern calls for. And yeah, this would have like perfectly fit the other hot water bottle I had, and then that one broke. So I think I don't mind that it's not folded over. I think it's nice. It like kind of like perfectly fits this hot water bottle. And I don't think I mentioned I held the yarn double because this is a DK weight pattern. If I were to knit this hot water bottle cover again, I think I would do it in wool, not a sock yarn, because I don't know, some of the stitch definition, like it looks pretty good now, but some of the stitch definition was not super great. Yeah, and I just felt like if I'd knit it in wool, everything would have like stuck together a little more nicely and would have been more fun to knit the color work. But I do quite like the result, and I'm very happy with that. I did knit, or I don't know if this even counts. I think it does, but I made from my, I think I was showing this on the last podcast that I did, but it's these 2 pairs of socks are from a sock tube that I bought when I went to my local sheep and wool festival, which is Lambtown in Dixon. And yeah, it was super cool. It just came with this super long sock tube. Well, it was like a full skein of yarn cranked into a sock tube, and it was like not that much more expensive than just buying a skein of sock yarn, if I'm being honest. And it made 2 quite large pairs of socks. I was gonna gift these over Christmas, and then it just never happened, so they will be Christmas gifts next year. But what you do is you go in and you knit all of the cuffs, heels, and toes. Well, you do cuffs and then toes, and then you cut in and do the heels. But yeah, you like cut into the sock tube, pick up the stitches, and then knit. I used a Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad subscription yarn to do my heels and toes. This was the October color, I believe. And the company that did the sock squad, you can find them on Etsy. They're called like Happy Mermaid Yarn Company or something like that. Last time I checked their Etsy, they weren't selling the sock tubes there, so I don't know if that's something they just do at festivals. But yeah, I think sock tube socks are definitely something I would do again, especially for gifting, just because knitting a full sock as a gift, maybe one day that will not sound horrible to me, but today that sounds horrible to me. So this is a great way to do it. You're just knitting the interesting parts, which are the heels, toes, and cuffs. And you get 2 big old pairs of socks from one skein. I'd love to have a sock like knitting machine one day, but they're crazy expensive. So unless I can figure out like a 3D printed one or something, that's not gonna happen. Okay, here we go. More socks. And this is also a Farmer's Daughter Fiber Sock Squad subscription. I'm not subscribed for this year, so I'll be talking about their sock squad a lot less in the coming months, because I've completed all of the months. I'll of course still use the yarn that I have left over in various projects, but it'll be less like in your face, hopefully. I forget which month this was, but in that month I had knit Elliot a pair of these socks. These are the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry. They look a little dirty. I don't know if I washed them, but I wanted to knit a pair for myself so that we would have matching socks. She thinks it's adorable. I love that. And yeah, the DRK Everyday Sock pattern is great. It's really simple, so it's like a great like car or meeting or, you know, a project you can do while doing other things, except for the heel construction, which that took some concentration for me, mostly because it was a new technique. But the fit on these is really awesome just because they are all over rib, and they're 2x2 rib all over. And so they just fit to your foot a little bit, like they conform to your foot, which is super nice. And I have been enjoying these. Oh, and they're great for 2 at a time knitting as well, because they're pretty basic. Yeah. I also finished 2 of my tanks from like the spring and summer. I think this one was from spring and summer the year before last. At least I started it then. But this is the Ripple Crop Top by Jessie May, or Jessie Made Designs. And it's the fingering weight one. There's a few different weights, and I knit it in Swan's Island Natural Colors fingering in the color Vintage Lilac. As you can see, there's some color pooling and like striping and stuff. I should have alternated my skeins as I was knitting, and I didn't do that. And yeah, I've worn this a couple times, and so far I don't mind too much. I was thinking about potentially over dyeing it. I probably won't do that for at least another like year. I want to give myself some time to see if it really does bother me. But yeah, this is a great t-shirt. I think it seems like the weather here is getting just like warm enough that like a wool t-shirt will make sense. Well, actually, I'm wearing one now. Oh, but I'm pregnant, so none of my stuff fits me. This one should be fine because it's like cropped anyways, so I'll just wear it with some of my high-waisted pregnancy options. I'm having a lot of wardrobe struggles right now during pregnancy. Oh, I forgot to mention that I'm wearing the Kreiner coat by pattern by Huga Strick, in case you were interested. Yeah, I've shown this in a lot of podcasts because I was working on it for a really long time because it's fingering weight and it's a great basic tee. I really like the neckline. I'm liking it, but I haven't had a ton of chances to wear it so far. So we'll see. We'll see if I over dye it in the future. But yeah, it's nice. I like it. And lastly, I finished another one of my summer. This was a tank project, and I think I was like, in my last podcast, I was like, I just had to sew it together or something. This is the filigree tank by Marzana. It's in her Sydney Summer Knits booklet. So there's like, I want to say 5 patterns, and this is one of them. They're all really nice. But this one really spoke to me because of this gorgeous lace back panel. And there's like a little bit of lace that goes up the sides here too. Again, I have not worn this other than to just try it on and like for my Everything I Knit video or short that I posted. You cannot wear a bra with it, so that is a challenge, especially during pregnancy. So we'll see if I figure out how to wear it. I have like sticky, what are they called? They're like little sticky things. So we'll see if that works for this top. But yeah, it's so beautiful, and I love the little buttons. I found these vintage buttons at Lambtown and just knew they had to be for this top. I did have to make some modifications to make them work because I had one less than I needed. But yeah, you can't really tell, but they're like light blue little baby buttons, and they're so cute. And the top, I mean, it fits me. It's really cropped and you can't wear a bra, so we'll see how much I wear it, but it does fit. I was worried it was going to be too small. I might block it out again and try to get some length this way, because I was worried about it being too wide, and so I blocked it quite wide, and it actually is pretty generous on the width and quite like cropped on the length. Again, I'm wondering if maybe this will work for pregnancy, just with like I have a high-waisted skirt, pregnancy skirt, and I have like shorts, spandex shorts, so we'll see if I end up wearing it. Hopefully I do, and if not, it's just so beautiful. It's an heirloom for sure. Oh, and I knit this in the same yarn base, Swans Island Natural Colors Fingering Collection. The color on this was indigo. So yeah, that wraps up all of my knitting since the last time I chatted with you, and I'm hopefully not gonna have another lapse, but if I do, I'm gonna be gentle with myself because it's completely understandable. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, and I will catch you in my next video. Thanks so much. Bye.